and there's not a and so with our model, it allows us to, in some cases, accelerate, and then in other cases, decelerate the pace or time that it takes for a child to learn. And so I am encouraged by the survey that we're going to watch on one of our talented students and how she has utilized that variable time to fit her schedule. So we'll open it up here and hopefully that video will be ready for us.
I've been dancing since I was 8 years old. There is a lot of work that goes into this. As I've gotten older, it's from 50 hours a week, 22 hours a week. It's just pretty much practicing every day.
Epic is perfect for a student like Bella that has a very busy schedule, but also wants to prioritize school. Bella's schedule is different every single day. It's some days in the morning, some days in the afternoon, some days it's in the evening. She's able to knock out her week to fit her class schedule in around her dance schedule.
I traveled quite a bit for dance. This year, I went to New York for the summer. I went to Florida for international video local competitions.
After school starts, Bella's going to leave up to New York, and she's going to spend the school year living in New York City, and she's going to dance classes only every day. That's a full-time job, but it's also her senior year of high school. So we've already talked about she's going to be doing her school in the evenings, not weekends, and she and I are going to meet on evenings or weekends by Zoom so that we can stay connected. We can flex her class schedule around that dance schedule so she can still be successful in both arenas.
It's been so helpful to just like have an understanding teacher, but also just a very flexible program that works with the dance schedule.
So school can be different.
Okay, we are up to board committee reports. Do we have anything to share from finance?
We had talked about just the stuff we're going to talk about today, audit stuff coming up that we'll deal with when it comes up, but that's about it.
And nothing on the way. Looks like we're up to Bob. My favorite part, except for Bart.
If the microphone works.
Hey! Jimmy and Denise. That's actually. Hi, Bob.
So, welcome to the afternoon. I got to tell you, Epic's always innovative, right? And they are having board meetings during business hours. What a novel thought. So, now is it working? Is it working? Can you hear me, Lee? Good.
I can hear you, but not through the microphone.
So, first of all, congratulations for getting the board meeting in a place, and that's no small matter. It's not an afterthought. It's really important for the organization, and the only thing with your digital technology, you allow people on different schedules to be able to see everything that you need to see, so your transparency stays, but your professionalism is showing. I got to tell you that the process of moving around in different venues in the state of Oklahoma, it is a pleasure to talk about Epic. And it isn't that it's a great place and you end the conversation. You can follow it up by example after example after example of innovation and change. And you can even talk about when things aren't going great, that what they're doing to correct it. And so that's a really phenomenal, it's a good place to be, and it's a good conversation to have. What we got today is two things. We got the traditional stuff, but also on your agenda when you did your Carver governance, you said in January you wanted to see something about HR, in particular turnover rates and demographics. So we've got that as well. So let's start with first slide, next slide. So here's where we are, the traditional charts. We're coming up. The gray is for this year. The yellow is the target or the goal overall, and we're going to be doing some checking on that this next month to make sure that target is the correct one. It's been there for a while. we think that it should get you to the improvement. In December, time but because the past the challenge of the staff because what down the individuals in the eye. So what's behind? There's a lot behind this. The instructions and lead unit. This day spread out organization. That's what makes it is not reporting, but actually down in the makes sense. Student engagement, what kind of just about where the front start of the year dropped off a little bit. Okay. A little bit, but in the long run, they moved. Advancing again. That Boston West. So again, the resources rates. If we had 40%, is high quality. The number of Caucasian, but there are people in the urban center. This is interesting. Nice mix. One more. state of Oklahoma is where there's a teacher just look, do something about it. And in this case, is for and we had is good a quality Epic places that they're a little bit those areas. It's more a product. For the most part, or that you're coming through the with. I have another client, and there's some adversely affecting the quality of that come through. Next slide. It's been much higher. So that you can have good opportunity competitive to enter in teaching. You bet. Take care.
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out. You can see charge our YouTube program to what is hundreds of individuals with a bachelor's degree and have converted them into certified teachers. And as Bob mentioned, I mean, not only have we benefited from that, but other traditional brick and mortar schools throughout the state of Oklahoma have benefited as well. And when you look at a nationwide teacher shortage, the fact that we figured out a way from basically from farm to table to be able to create more teachers than what our university systems are able to do is a testament to Patricia and her entire team that are working diligently every single day to reimagine what that can look like. So it's a wonderful program. It has certainly benefited us. And just to sort of quantify, I think I mentioned this statistic to you all last semester, but in talking to our talent acquisition team this past summer, in the midst of a nationwide teacher shortage that's impacting all states, including Oklahoma, Epic Charter Schools had 600 certified teachers that applied to work at Epic that didn't get a job. So when you start looking at retention rates that are below 10%, and I think the state average is around 20%, it's a good place to work. Not only are we retaining staff, but we're also attracting new staff to come in here and supply this for our program that we have now. So very proud of our team. Okay, let's take a look at our slideshow. Let's see what we got. Superintendent update for January 18th, 2024. We'll start with our 5 aspirations. Here's our enrollment. So let's take a look at where we are versus where we were at our FQSI. You can see we're slightly up. It is not uncommon, just so you all know, at the semester break to lose students, a couple hundred students every year. We'll decide this is not the right fit for them. We want to go back to our local brick and mortar, or we want to homeschool, or maybe even go to a private school. But what you'll notice is that that will true up within a month or two, and you'll actually start, we're still growing the school and adding 50 to 100 applications per day on average. And so I look for that number to continue to grow above and beyond where we're at, but very, very stable enrollment, which I think is encouraging for our staff. Let's give a shout out to our top 3 principals with regards to standards mastery. Bob showed you the 3-year trend line, and so I'm very proud of our staff. I think what that trend line showed me, that sort of that 3-year, is that the concept of teaching and measuring is beginning to really resonate with our staff, and it's beginning to seep into the waters. It's just part of our culture now, and I think you're going to continue to see that trend grow and grow and grow. And so this is standards mastery is really important. So for BLA formative completion, Sheila Sanders, Angela Kelman-Mendoza, and Ashley Reynolds. And for BLA formative mastery, Sheila Sanders, Trishelle Raymond, and then Angela Kelman-Mendoza. For math formative completion, Lindsay Cannell, Camille Francia, and Angela Kelman-Mendoza. And then for math formative mastery, Jeff Upton, Angela Kelman-Mendoza, and then April Golden. And also wanted to let you all know that you're going to hear from our Deputy Superintendent of Instruction in February. So he's going to be coming up, not this board meeting, but the next board meeting, with an update on our winter benchmarking. So we just closed our winter benchmarks, and keep in mind we benchmark in the fall, in the winter, and then in the spring as well, so you can determine the trajectory of growth, or in some cases, regression. But then we report that information to our parents so that they can see, are we making good on the promise of educating your child? So we just closed out the winter window, and Justin will be bringing some of that data to you next month, along with some other interesting growth statistics, just to show you how our students are projected. Next slide. Rise Academy. 16 students back on cohort. If you're not familiar with our Rise Academy, I believe students have to be 1.5 years behind credit count in order to just qualify for the program. So it's a program specifically dedicated to students that are credit deficient for whatever reason, and getting them back on track with their cohort. And you can see in its first year here, we have 16 students back on cohort. We already have 3 graduates, and there's a picture of one of our graduates, Sarah, with her beautiful son. So you can see credits earned by the cycle. So we go in, it's 8 up cycles. They start a new cohort every 8 weeks. So that, if students are coming to us in October or February or whatever, it doesn't matter. We just start a new cohort. We meet them right where they're at, and you can see 561 total credits have been earned by this group. And so we're incredibly proud of the Rise Academy and this dedication for kids that are credit deficient. And keep in mind, I think I told you the statistic, on average 8 out of 10 students that come to us either credit deficient or below grade level. So there's a lot of remediation that is necessary to get these kids back on cohort, to get them across the finish line so that they can enter the workforce or go off to college or whatever it is they want to do, or career tech, or the military. Then we're helping them to achieve that. So we're very, very proud of our Rise Academy, and super proud of Skylar and our other 2 graduates. Next one. Here's some more statistics on the Rise Academy in terms of the breakdown of who are we serving and what's that demographic look like. So you can see the percentages of American Indian, Black students, Caucasian students, Hispanic students, and Pacific Islanders. 87% of those students are economically disadvantaged. 10%, 1 out of 10 kids that are a part of the Rise Academy are homeless. They're participating in 12% on Oklahoma Promise. So you can see graduation cohorts, age of years, and grade levels as well. Very, very proud of our Rise Academy. 38% are male, 62% are female. Immigrant services. So our immigrant and member services in the DLL department are serving families from 14 different language groups. Can you believe that? You talk about diversity. This includes almost 60 students from Afghanistan and 40 newly arrived Syrian refugee families. So we continue partnerships with the Swale Project and Catholic Charities. We've been partnered with them for a couple of years now, and developing relationships with our Latina agency here in South Oklahoma City, and looking to new partners around the state and Tulsa area to make good on those 5 aspirations that you all created. So each week, teachers host a co-op for Afghan and Syrian students here in Oklahoma City. Of course, it's not just academic; it's social, language, cultural. We just find groups to develop these both in person and virtual, and kids love to come together. Of course, you can see pictures there of some of our students, and so we're going to be working with the State Department to offer proficiency-based language testing in Pashto, Dari, Arabic, Chinese, and these students and other multilingual students will receive full language credit to be able to apply for the Seal of Biliteracy, which is a seal put on the student's transcript knowing that they've met certain bilingual requirements, which helps them for scholarships and future employment. So Epic Charter Schools is truly an inclusive learning environment. Really, really is. And so everybody is welcome here. And that's one of the benefits of technology is that it allows us to begin to bridge the gap between where these students are. And I don't know how familiar you all are with translation apps and things like that's out there with regards to technology, but literally you can converse with a student in their native tongue now using technology. So it's pretty cool to see the impact that we're having with students that spread across the world. Next slide.
Or ask a quick question.
Absolutely.
So I was fighting with my iPad and I missed the total number of students that were currently enrolled in RISE.
If you can go back to that, Jenny, let's take a look at it. Yeah, one more.
And I'm blind, so someone's gonna have to shout out that number.
Let me see that.
307.
307
Not on
students.
some slide.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, and it's been over a year too, so really, to start something from scratch is not easy.
Right.
And these kids are a very fragile group. And, there's a reason they're behind the credit count. And it's usually life circumstances, trauma, that have life is out in the way. And so just meeting them right where they're at and using all of the wraparound resources we have to be able to target and meet their needs is clearly having an impact already on Epic and eventually the state. Okay, you bet. Next slide. EPAT coaching. I don't know, we talked about this before, but I don't know if we've done it in a while. So an EPAT is an Epic parent as a teacher, and so we've got 12 EPATs that are readily available to teach other parents the Epic model, personal insights of their own. One of the credentials of an EPAT is that they have been an Epic parent themselves for several years and currently have an Epic student. So the position allows parents, teachers, and administrators to create a cohesive partnership with betterment of our Epic students. So nobody knows what it's like to be an Epic parent more than an Epic parent. And so you all have been Epic parents, and so you know that the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? In terms of what's involved there. And so EPATs meet with families via Zoom, phone, email, in person, and help support with questions about power school, field trips, clubs. EPATs are the perfect liaison between the staff and families. And just wanted to take a minute to recognize these 12 EPATs that are playing a pivotal role with our families. And again, the Epic model, particularly if you've never been enrolled in Epic, certainly there's a learning curve that first 6 to 12 months is challenging. And in some cases, parents are the primary educator of their children in our model. And we partner with parents in order to get those kids from where they are to where we want them to be. And EPATs help to sort of bridge that gap because it can be really daunting for parents, particularly if they have multiple kids in our model. That is quite a commitment that these families are making. And so they understand intimately the challenges associated with being Epic parents. So very, very glad that our family engagement department is providing that service for our families. So upcoming events, we've got Mary Expos, various departments on site to answer caregiver students' questions. We're offering informative caregiver breakout as well well as engaging student sessions, and new updated information will be presented at these sessions. So there's some looking for new and veteran Epic families. Families will be with information and resources that will enable them to have a successful 2024 spring semester. We've got health fairs, new health fairs, offering dental, vision, hearing screenings, as well as blood pressure screenings, sports physicals at the Lawton, Oklahoma City, Glencore, and Longmont buildings. We've got a Scholastic Book Fair coming up at Lawton, Stoughton, Norman, Tulsa, and Oklahoma City, and then science fairs. This year's science fairs will also coincide with our Winter Expo. So just about every quarter, our family engagement department is actually going out to different quadrants in the state to meet with Epic families. And in some cases, it's returning families that have been with us for several years, but in a lot of cases, it's brand new families. And so if you're watching this online and you're not family to Epic, we've enrolled hundreds of kids in the last couple of weeks. So I would encourage you to check out our Winter Expos and to plug in. I want to let you know that in December, we had an Epic Employee Appreciation and Awards Luncheon. So that occurred on December 15th, and we had awards were shared, appreciation was expressed by myself. It was a much appreciated time to get together with colleagues, share lunch, stories, and laughter. And then we also handed out awards. What was interesting, I don't know if you all probably know this, but there were 3 things that were mentioned as I was reading through, like, what are today's employees in 2024 looking for? So what's the top 3? Number 1 is compensation. Number, a livable wage. Number 2, flexibility and autonomy. And number 3 is recognition. And so this was an opportunity for us to recognize our high-performing teachers. And we had a couple hundred that came up and received the award in front of their peers for academic excellence and the commitment to serving their students to the best of their ability. So that's something that we're going to continue to do each year. And it's a wonderful opportunity because really, I could be wrong here, but I think that is the only time every year that all Epic employees get together in the same room. So we had over 1,000 employees that came. And we didn't just recognize teachers, we also recognize non-instructional departments and people that are high performers and doing an outstanding job facilitating on behalf of their departments. And so it's a really good time to get together and recognize our people. To have that and synergy as working at Epic every day on behalf of children. And so it was a really, really nice time. So I really appreciate our events team putting that on and everybody that participated. So AI in the classroom. So KJRH, Channel 2 in Tulsa, ran a story in December about Epic Charter Schools being set to become one of the first schools in the nation to implement artificial intelligence in classrooms. So the school's cloud-based on PowerSchool is adding AI agents to all of its software. Epic uses PowerSchool Suite and is part of their early adopter program, making them one of the first schools in the nation to use PowerSchool's connected intelligence. And Beth Whalen, who's the Executive Director of Education Technology, said there's no plan to bring AI before students at Epic. They plan to use it to make teachers' lives easier. And so we want to support teachers to take food off their plate, basically, things off their teacher's plate so that they can interact more with students. So where the teachers will be able to use AI to help create lessons and quizzes for students. And there's a focus on making school individual for each student finding a way to meet that goal, but make it simpler for teachers. So we have a video here, the KJRH news story.
Another developing story. Oklahoma's largest public school system, Epic Charter School, is becoming one of the first in the nation to try out new artificial intelligence learning technology. School leaders say they want the focus to be on making teachers' jobs easier, with instructors personalizing each lesson plan to each student's needs. Juniors Oklahoma's Steph Manchin tells us one teacher is excited about the possibilities to come with this new technology.
When thinking about artificial intelligence in classrooms, some may think of the negative effects, like cheating on an assignment. But Epic Charter School is bringing that technology begin with a different purpose in mind.
We want to support teachers to take more things off of teachers' plates so teachers can interact with our students.
The school's cloud-based learning hub, PowerSchool, is adding AI agents to all of their software. Epic is part of the early adopter program, making it one of the first schools in the nation to get their hands on PowerSchool connected intelligence technology. Come January, teachers will be supported in a myriad of ways, allowing them to focus more on the individual needs of students versus the tasks they still have to complete to meet those needs.
Personally, I think that it's great and it's going to be something that's in the workplace. One of our aspirations is that our students at Epic are future ready and in demand, and I think part of that's going to be, using AI and knowing how to use it.
Melissa Hart tells me not every teacher on staff is sold on the idea, but once she saw the capabilities the new concept will bring to her day-to-day work in the classroom, she was eager to try it.
We're very finite in specifically exactly where they need help. And if it's building quizzes, I don't have to, build a quiz myself or go hunt for a quiz. It's exactly what they need on that student list.
Epic focuses primarily on virtual education, but there are not any plans to implement AI programming in students' work right now. However, 11th grader Renee Collins says this feels like a natural next step for her school.
The whole purpose of this building specifically is to help the students, and I think AI is a great add-on to, pushing us and getting our work done.
Stephanie and James Hughes, Oklahoma.
Epic Charter School is the largest public school system in the state of Oklahoma. School leaders say this investment is part of their plan.
Yeah, so, we talked about, the 3 A's, we talked about automation, artificial intelligence, and analytics, and AI is going to revolutionize the world. It's going to change every single sector of society, including education. And so being able to participate, but then also being able to lead the way in terms of safety and ethics and boundaries with regards to the use of AI, it seems like the perfect place for us to start is with our staff. And if AI can be a multiplier of that teacher's efforts, literally what she was talking about is the AI will help us to better personalize the education for every child, because every child's unique, their needs are unique. And so we use things like benchmarks that Justin's going to talk about next month to begin to create a quote-unquote playlist that will personalize the education of the child using artificial intelligence. And so what you get with that is you get an education that is relevant and not redundant. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It is truly a customized approach using AI. And so to be asked by PowerSchool, which has a 70% market share in North America of schools, 70% of schools in North America are partnered with PowerSchool. To be asked by PowerSchool, which is out of California, to help lead the way in terms of this innovation of this new technology that's going to transform the world is a blessing to be asked. And so we appreciate our partners at PowerSchool, appreciate the opportunity to utilize this technology, and we will continue to come back to the board and report on AI and what we're seeing with it. And I agree with that, Steve. I think there will come a day when we figure out a way to make sure that AI is used ethically and honestly and safely to where we're able to put it in the hands of students. And I think there will come a day when students, every single student, will have their own AI tutor or AI agent that rides along them in their education, that gets to know them, that gets to know their needs, that will be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to partner with their teacher and in the remediation and the education of that child. So that day is coming. I don't know when, but it's coming. Also wanted to recognize our school board here. So National School Board Recognition Month is celebrated every January by school districts across the United States, and it's an opportunity for local schools and communities to honor Oklahoma's more than 2,700 elected school board members for their dedication and service to the children. So good. Please give our board a round of applause.
Where's the champagne?
Yes. We thank you. We thank you for your public service to Oklahoma children, and to the almost 2,000 staff members that we have employed here at Echo. So thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry to interrupt again, but we've talked about the basics and dealing on behalf of all these things. We've talked about the arts, we've talked about AI, languages. This is all great. What about a physical education component? I understand that our student base is challenged sometimes by their own abilities to interact in groups, but how do we bring that component as our community, our culture is faced with so many health problems? And I feel like that might be a challenge in the future for EPIC to embrace and try to bring to their students, just as an added value component to their childhood, and which, makes for good adults and healthy adults. Because these people are going to be taking care of us, ladies and gentlemen.
That's exactly right. No, I think you make a great point. I think that, there is an epidemic, not just in Oklahoma, but nationwide, an epidemic of obesity. You look at the rise of type 2 diabetes in the United States. It is a problem, and it's something that I accept your challenge. I think we've started that conversation. One of the things we did this year was we began to dip our toe into the waters of providing organized athletics for our students, which is something we've never done in the history of Epic Charter School. So this year we're offering basketball to hundreds of students across the state that are interested in participating, and we decided that as we had conversations with families and whatnot, that one of the things they told us is that in addition to basketball, another sport they would like to see is soccer, which I think again kind of gets to your point, gets kids outdoors, gets them active. Obviously being in 77 counties, the logistics of how you do that versus how when you practice, the locations of that, it is a challenge to be able to provide that above and beyond just the cost. But I think your point is relevant, and I think that is something that I will take back to our executive leadership team as we begin to sort of prioritize, where can we allocate these resources that we've been surplus with. And I can't think of a lot better ideas than the physical education of students. So, challenge accepted. Yep.
I have, just going to touch on the training AI and working with PowerSchool on that. I cannot think of a more important piece to be doing than training AI and making sure that we are actively training AI. I'm working with 2 different AIs, and it's the same thing, just like, we're just looking at training. And I think that people who are capable of running at scale like this, you probably have way more understanding of what actually AI is going to be able to do than the people that created the AI. And so I really think it's critically important that we're training as much as possible, and that you're taking those opportunities and you're on the world stage to get the opportunities, to get the best tech. So to the extent that can be encouraged, it is to me top priority, and kind of the field moderation of how we're going to commonly guide ourselves through this stuff is what we're learning in this moment. And I think it's critical for operations that can show that they can act in the diaspora at scale, asynchronously. I mean, this is the only true data that's available that's really relevant for, at least for future ready graduates. So I think that's really critical. I'm so impressed with the team's work to be just positioned to take these opportunities, and that's what I want to keep seeing. And I think the other, the You Teach thing, I didn't touch on this when we were talking about it, but the idea that we are, a ground up operation, we meet needs and dreams based on what is happening at this level, not at this level. And so to me, like, this is a very carnate, you put your hands around it, like we had a need, we met the need. And regardless of the gates that exist, it's sort of irrelevant when we're operating at a needs-based capacity and with the feedback that we are able to take on because, we're healthy, we're clear, we're transparent. And so I appreciate how you all just run at pace with these opportunities, and I just don't want to go unseen or acknowledged. This is it takes a very healthy institution to stay at pace, and your institution went through a lot of trauma and still held together. It's just a very impressive feat, and I'm so impressed with the members on the education side as well. To me, the organization being able to take care of its own and its students simultaneously through some really rocky years, and then come out at the very cutting edge of tech is a pretty beautiful thing. You're just an awesome leader, Mark. I'm just grateful, all of you. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, consent agenda. Are we there yet, or no? Finance, okay. It's 5 minutes. She's said that twice now. Jeez. I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is, she's so good at it, it's just fundamental to the fabric.
So I'd like to discuss the finance report becoming part of the consent agenda in future meetings. I've been saying this for 6 months, so you just proved my point. Thanks, Steve.
Great. What shall we talk about, Jeez?
In your board packet today and on the slides, we have the financial review for the period ended November 30th, 2023. So I know it's 2024, but financial reporting lags a little bit, which is normal. At the end of November, the cash in the bank was just under 54 million, with 7.2 million in outstanding checks. And you can see the fund balance is the net of those two. Revenue for the year, 164 million, expenses 117.5 million. And we're still tracking along very good. The gap between goal and actual revenue is starting to come down a little bit, which is expected. And then being under budget on expenses is ideal. It's what we're going to be all year long. Our expense graph is looking about what we would expect. The revenue graph. And overall for the year, it's a smaller number of students and a smaller revenue. So you expect that the blue line is always going to be less than the prior 2 years because of the size of revenue, but it's looking pretty normal as far as the way the chart moves through the year. And on expenses, it's about the same. We were spending more this year because we're spending down those ESSER funds. So you're seeing a little bit higher spending, and we're also spending more because we're receiving more per student. So payroll was up, a lot of things like that. When you compare it dollar to dollar to prior years, it looks a little bit different. And then that very large carryover that we had at the beginning of the year is going to affect this because we're spreading that out through the entire year on 12 months. Funding update. So I promised you last month that we would have a funding update when we got back in January, and we moved. The midterm allocation was released on, the first one was released on December 21st. We were on break. But it didn't stop us from getting in there and analyzing it and making sure that we estimated correctly. I told ELT in a text, I know I did it right, but when I see it, then I really know I did it right. I need to see it in print, 99.9% sure. So we had estimated that we would be either flat or increase in funding and midterm allocation, and indeed it was very minor increase, 1.9 million, which is not chunk change, but when it's 197 to 199 million, it's a very small percentage. So we're not asking for a budget adjustment to be approved at this time because that number is small enough that if we need it, we can do that at any time during the year. And I'd rather not do it twice. If there's another adjustment of some sort between now and the end of the year, we'll make sure that's accounted for. So I put this in the slide deck so you can see it when we go back through. This is the actual calculation sheet that comes from the State Department with the number down at the bottom. And then just making sure that the 2-year high is noted up here where it says 2023, the full weighted ADM is 47,509.71, and our first 9 weeks, first quarter weighted ADM for the current year is 45,637. So we are being funded on last year's numbers on the 2-year high. That's critical that we are always paying attention to those numbers and that we know what's happening. So should the school continue to not get bigger, which I don't think will happen, then that 45,637 becomes the year one of the 2-year high. So next year we'll be looking at hopefully that number increasing. This is the way the funding works. So the first 5 months of the year that we receive funding are August through December, and they're funded on that original allocation of 197,636 and change. And midterm, they make an adjustment in January, and then you're on a new average for the rest. So if you have a very large adjustment in January, then you receive a very large payment in January. So they catch you up to true form where you're supposed to be in January based on the percentages. So in the fall of 2020, when the school grew very, very large, January 2021, right before I started working here, Epic received a $135 million payment in 1 month to catch them up to the current allocation. So we received about $1 million additional from what we've already received, and then we received the rest of it in increments through the rest of the year. So I wanted to show you where the weighted ADM played in for this midterm adjustment. I think it's interesting to note we've been in the number 3 spot, and we expected to be in the number 3 spot for a while, but of all schools, Oklahoma City and Epic are the only 2 on last year's numbers. So everyone else, this year's numbers were higher. I find that fascinating. So we'll see what happens as things keep going. And then, of course, that's based on the weighted ADM. So if there was a surge in any of the weights, whether it's grade or special education or gifted and talented, it could affect placement. You could be in 4th place on ADM and 6th place on weighted ADM, depending on how your district is made up. And I believe that happens right here. Broken out of Putnam City, you can see the weight is flipped. Anyway, I love these kind of numbers. They make my heart happy. But I think it's interesting to see where we are on special education. If you look at the size of our district compared to Oklahoma City and Tulsa, our special education rates are higher, even though their district is bigger. That's a key indicator of the population that we're carrying here. And then when you look at the gifted and talented numbers, ours is very, very small for the size of our district. And that could be because we need to do better at identifying, and it could be just because that's what our population is. We're still working on that, and that's something that's definitely on the radar of the gifted and talented team. Bilingual was fascinating to me. Anyway, you can dig into this a little bit more. Jennifer's like, she's really over there, I can tell. I found this fascinating, and I wanted to share it with you because these numbers were published with the midterm adjustment, so this was just received at the end of December. That's all I have to report. If there are questions, I'd be happy to answer them or comments or anything.
It is fascinating. I was looking forward to hearing about it. Thank you. Okay, now we are to the consent agenda, right?
Yeah, we need to please accept the financial report.
We do need to accept the financials. I was heard that part. Thank you.
I'd like to move to accept the financials as presented.
Ms. Berry is absent. Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
And Ms. Myers?
Yes. Is there anything on the consent agenda that anyone needs to pull out?
I would like to, I think, to take out F to discuss.
Anything else? And then I take a motion to pull that from the consent document.
Motion to, all the other letters except for that.
Okay, so do that and then take up F or take up F first?
Take out.
Okay. You want to do this motion?
Yes, so move to accept the consent agenda except for item F.
Second.
Ms. Berry is absent. Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
And Ms. Myers?
Yes. All right, can we talk about consideration of possible action for Confidence Ford fleet vehicles through state contract?
So I just had a couple of questions about this, mostly out of curiosity that we had to pull out to talk about. So, what we can do with 4x4s, 1. 2, are we subject to like state motor pool stuff? Like we have to service them through state motor pool, etc. Are they ours to take care of?
Yeah,
Own them?
Yeah, why don't we have James and Sean both come up to the podium, because I think your questions probably are in both of those 2 wheelhouses. So go ahead, I'm sorry.
So we have a couple of vehicles already and we service them on our own schedules, so we don't have the reporting that you're speaking of that would be required for like ODOT or other big agencies that have fleets of vehicles like that. So you're not subject to those types of reporting.
And we're not leasing them from the state, we're going to own them.
No, we're buying them from the dealer. The state contract is related to pre-negotiated purchasing prices that were bid by the state, so we're piggybacking on that bid so that we don't have to also go out and bid the vehicles. We can just purchase them at state pricing, and the state's assuring us that that's the best price we can get.
So why did we need F-250 for reference?
That's not good.
We have a facility team that travel around the state in all kinds of weather and all kinds of locations for our sites that we keep adding. And currently their mileage is in the thousands every month because they're driving their personal vehicles. So we look at it as a win-win cost-wise and then for their vehicles too and the liability.
Well, I would add on top of that, Sharon, not only are we adding sites, but we're also maintaining sites.
Yes, yeah, that's what I meant, like, as we add the sites, then they have to go and maintain them, and so they're driving all over, yeah,
Who's they?
our facilities team. And we'll have one housed in Tulsa, and then we'll have 3 in Oklahoma City for now, and then if we see, once, because we're gonna hire some more regionally, then we'll figure out how we can, put those across the state, so they're not more centrally located.
Are we gonna put the cool big paint job on them?
Yes.
Some of the vehicles, right?
Yes, yeah, or wrap them, so it's an advertisement too, and then they have to drive nice. I'm gonna let
Yeah, those are my questions. I do know with state motor pool and leasing is a disaster. They don't want to mess with it. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So I would move to approve F for the consent agenda.
Ms. Berry's absent. Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
And Ms. Myers?
Yes. Accept the motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Ms. Berry's absent. Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Hammond?
Yes.
And Ms. Myers?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I think we're gonna start having like a group. No, it's all, but not just giving church, so like, I was gonna say, you know, yeah, it's cool, but it's just like living together outward. I try to take them over, begin a fight with somebody. It's always because they have to slash and that's and here's just to make you like ill. My teenage girl calls me now, oh my gosh, like I don't know, have gone termination, you don't know that. It's really all these